Hello everyone, welcome back to The Place in the Sun, my little place in the internet where I can share the things that bring me joy. And today I'm back with the 52 Weeks of Tarot, and we're going to be looking at month of March, how the practice was going on through March. So, as usual, I was using my calendar, the monthly spread, to put the parts from the guidebook from the cards that I pull every day to learn a little bit more about how the guidebook is functioning, what is the artist meaning behind the cards. So let's move to the decks that I've been using this month and how it worked for me. So the first one is gonna be a Tarot of Sorceress. If you can hear the snoring of my dog, I'm really sorry. He's having a very good nap under the table and apparently needed also to snore. So this is a Tarot of Sorceress. Normally I use this tarot only on certain occasions, which is full moons or new moons. This is a deck that I was always exclusively using in this time for the communication with deities, for like work that needs to be done during that moon. So it was very interesting for me to take it out of that practice and take a look how I could use it also in my day-to-day life. It's an interesting deck as it's not exactly Rider-Waite-Smith. It was much more inspired by Marseille deck. It looks into Wheel of the Year when it comes to more, I would say, Wiccan tradition. It's not exactly my tradition, but still I do observe the changes of the nature. I do follow the seasons. So it connects to a different equinoxes, solstices throughout the year. It also connects to different elements in witchcraft, would be candles, crystals, plants, animals. So in general, it can be used as a little transportable altar that then you can play with and create rituals around. It has this much more magical approach than divination in the context of checking with your day or what should you do or going deeper into your mind. It much more works for me as my magical tool, but also, like I said, I use it a lot for communication with different deities that might be popping up and wanting to pass a message. So that's something that is its work. It was really interesting to also look into the guidebook because it has its own approach. I usually can pick up a different little messages here and there that are different than what I would normally see reading it intuitively. Also, when I am reading from deities, I use the guidebook because like this, the message feels like it's really coming from outside of me and not from my own brain. So I really enjoy the guidebook. The entries are not huge, but they're still quite dense. There's things that you can take out of it. So whenever I work with it as my moon practice deck, I usually pair it with the Witches of Legends Oracle. It's at this point the only oracle I think that I have. No, that would be a lie. But it is the one of the two oracles that I have, which features goddesses from different mythologies that that come to me also as the deities, but sometimes also as archetypes. I don't like working with decks that have multiple deities from all around the world anymore if I'm not connecting to this culture, if I don't understand this culture. I am much more working with my local mythologies, with the Slavic mythology, a little bit with the Celtic mythology, as right now I am in the area where Celts would be, and also a bit with Nordic mythology, as also those influences are in the area where I am. But I keep to the ones that seems the most present to me. But I still really love this little oracle, and I was using it a lot for my moon practices when I have the guide, the guardian of the space during the full moon on new moon, and we're working through certain issues that coming from the mythology of this character, from this woman, or with some message that might be coming from her. Sometimes it was ending up with like a longer work with certain figures. So it's a really beautiful practice, and those decks communicate very well, especially that both of them are black and white with those little elements of gold spreaded here and there, which makes them really looking also beautifully together. And one more deck that I tried this month as something new, as I was working last month with Nameless One as a tarot, I wanted to try also the oracle part. So I took out the oracle and I tried doing a little reading with oracle being like the focal point, and then tarot supporting it around. It worked really beautifully. Both of those decks have this really magical ritual. Oh, this is upside down. Here we go. So both of those oracles have this very magical, like deep-rooted, like muddy energy for me. Like this I always call it a dirty witchcraft, but that's because like your hands are getting dirty. You're putting in the work. You doing something with your hands, create, like you're actually physically doing things. So this is something that really had this message to me, certain work that needed to be done in this week, as I use this combo for my weekly spread, to really set in place certain work that was evolving throughout the week. And it was really beautiful practice for sure. I would like to repeat it at some point. I think they work really beautifully together. So when it comes to the next week, I used my Sasuraibito tarot. So this is Traveler's Edition, so this is the mini version. This is a deck that was a bit problematic at first when I got it. I got it very long time ago, and it came to me in a dreams, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. It feels like it really has a message that it really wants to pass to me, so I'm gonna get it. And then I could not really communicate with this deck. We were spreading all around. We were like not really matching when I did a spread, doing the interview with a deck, as the effect of our work was a heartbreak, 3 of swords, breaking, and for a long time the deck was put away, and I'm like, okay, I don't understand why you wanted to come in. We cannot work together. It seems that we are just more like struggling with each other. But I think one of the things is that I wanted to force it in a certain way of working, and then I let it go. And at some point I felt like really emotionally heavy, but I felt like I really want to pick up this deck. And that's when it started shining. So it came to me that this deck really wants to talk about my emotional landscape. This is something that really wants to talk about transformation within me. How can I feel whole in the moments of struggle and challenge, and also how can I go through it? And that's the moment in which this deck and me started really working together. Right now it's my emotional deck, so whatever I'm not fully understanding what's going on inside of me, where is certain emotions popping up from, this is a deck that I go to, and this is its role within my collection. So like this, it's maybe not used super often, but it has a certain task that it's doing. So it was also again interesting to take it out of the task and take a look into what else. We didn't move far away from the emotional land, but it really pushed to this world of like, what can we do right now in the face of challenges? How can we transform? What is still waiting to be seen and wanting to be tended to? And how can we evolve further, or can we grow, move on, let go? So it was a very transformation oriented deck. And when it comes to pairing of the deck, something that oracle that I am struggling to pair for some reason, it doesn't want to work with anything else besides gentle tarot, which is understandable. So it's my friend Fire oracle, but for some reason it absolutely loved talking with Sasuraibito tarot. We had such a beautiful moments going into the guidebook, going a little bit deeper with the message, and then having a little bit more cards from Sasuraibito as additional context and going into the theme even more. It was beautiful meeting with something already tender inside of me. So the practice was absolutely heartwarming, and it also rekindled my love for Sasuraibito, as lately it's been a little bit more to the side. I had less capacity, and even when I had these emotional moments, I was forgetting about it, about using it and coming back to it. So right now I really feel called back to working with this deck. There's one more deck that I am pairing with it that also helps a little bit with direction to this deck, which is one of my favorite oracles, which is Spread Crafters. So in here we have a word which is really directing us, really creating this space of like, this is what we are concentrating on. It's beautiful when I want more clarification around what's going on between the tarot and oracle. It also plays beautifully with colors. So if I can find a certain color that is visible in Spread Crafters, then find it with an oracle, it pops certain messages, makes me look into certain directions. So it also adds this element of working with color, which I really enjoy. So that was a week when I was working with Sasuraibito tarot. And then comes the week that is before Ostara, before spring equinox, which is one of my favorite times of the year. So of course I took out Children of Ostara. So this deck is still something that I cannot use intuitively, is still something that I need to go to the guidebook, and I think this is also where the beauty is. I don't recognize all the plants, so having an option to take a look at the folklore and beliefs and like magic properties of certain plants allow me to add additional layer on top of the tarot. So I think it's very beneficial that in the end of the day I'm going and I'm reaching for that guidebook. It is one that I for sure would like to spend more time and be more fluent with it, so I can jump more and off, but I think this is something that you build connection with, starting to know more plants, starts to recognize them. Some of them I know, some of them I have in my garden, some of them are a little bit more how to say, exotic to me. They're not really from my environment. So it is also beautiful art. It has this quality of almost like a fairy tale, a fantasy world to which you can escape. It's also read beautifully for me. So one thing that I did for my weekly spread is I pair it with the Goddess Temple Oracle, which is this Celtic base oracle. So for me, springtime is very connected to the Celtic mythology. I tend to have certain mythologies that are ruling certain times of the year, certain seasons, and Celtic mythology is not something I'm super connected to. It's something that was further away from me where I am from, but now living when I live, it's a little bit more present here, but it's still not something that is super drawing me in. Still, this is oracle that I really love. I use it a lot also as archetypal energies. It has a mix of masculine and feminine representation from Celtic mythology. It also has this neutral themes. It has this soft spring waking up energy, this very watery. It feels like you're entering a stream and it just cleans you of the heavy winter energy. It's like the first spring rains. It really comes to me like this refreshing energy. I use it only in spring, this oracle. So I've been using them together as this is coming up the spring tarot and oracle that is also very for me spring oriented. I was also using with this one Seasons of the Witch Ostara tarot, but it's like a very Ostara to Ostara theme. So that was something that I was using during the spring equinox for my equinox reading. But I think this is something that is rarely shown, so the Goddess Temple is rarely shown, so I think it's nicer to show this one. There's also one more deck that I use with it, and this is Outgrow Yourself. And that was beautiful exploration of the inside and how can I transform using this energy of spring equinox, bring something new, grow like the seeds that I can now put into soil and nourish them. It's absolutely beautiful combo. It's, of course, you need to be prepared to do some work and see some stuff that are maybe not the most pleasant, as Outgrow Yourself is very honest, very straightforward, very direct, and can pull on some things that are a bit more painful, but at the same time it got a bit of the soothing energy of a plant, and it really brings me into this interesting place of exploration of what I want to work on now when the spring is upon us. So that would be Children of Ostara. And the last deck that I work with is the Stolen Child Tarot. And here this is a little bit of a problematic week. So it was an unusual week in the context that I was not spending the whole week at my home. So I also knew that whatever I want to work with, it's coming with me. I will not have a choice. I will not have an opportunity to take anything else. So I have to be very sure that this is what I want to spend those 4 days that I'm going to be outside of the home with. And the problem is that I have this deck for quite a while, but very rarely feel drawn to use it. It has beautiful art. I'm very often drawn to art, and I would love to have some of those pieces on my wall. But when it comes to reading, it always flies somewhere sideways. I struggle to... Yeah, okay, there were some technical problems. My camera turned off, so back to what I was saying. When I was looking at the art, I looked into like which ones I really love, which ones are kind of, yeah, I like it, it's fine, so which ones I don't like. And in the end of the day, there was like 30 that I really love, maybe 6 that I was like liking, sort of on board with it, and the rest it was like it doesn't really do much for me. So when I realized that also less than half of a deck is not something that I am extremely enjoying, it doesn't feel like I want to keep it, especially if it's already competing against different decks. When I want to reach for this shape-shifting energy, I'm going to reach for a different deck. When I want to work with animals, I also have different decks that I'm reaching more than this one. And for sure, there is someone who's going to want to use it, who's going to want to try to experience it. It's out of print deck, so like I said, it will find home in which it can get more attention, and then I can not feel guilty about it. And this opportunity to try it out, to see, okay, it doesn't work, gives me this freedom of freedom. It's not exactly freedom, it's this assurance that yes, I can let go, I'm not gonna regret it, this is not something that is working for me, and it's completely fine to pass it to someone who might enjoy it more than I do. So also, as an additional point, all the decks that I am mentioning are put in the description box. I have really bad memory for names, so I don't tend to say them out loud. I don't want to budge any creators or artist name, but also just my memory is not really working well with names. So in place of stressing about saying the right name, I'm just gonna always put it in the description box. Then you can find all the tarots and oracles that I'm mentioning. Also, if I'm mentioning any books or other references, I'm also always putting in the description box, so you can take a look if you would like to double check something Also, sometimes by accident I will use the wrong name of the oracle or tarot, so always the right one will be in the description box, just in case I change something. Names is never something that really stuck well in my head. So that would be for the March practice. We are now entering the spring. Starts to be more lively energy. The last 2 weeks of March were relatively hard for me though, with my health issues. So I feel like I wanted to do more, but I'm still really happy with what I did this month. And also, I'm really excited for using decks in April. I have a also interesting lineup for that, and I'm happy to be here with you today, and see you soon.